Hello, everyone. Welcome to Marion County Espresso TV. I'm your host, Steve Woodhouse, and joining me today is my friend, Marion County Sheriff Jason Sandholdt. Welcome, Jason.
Well, thanks for being here.
So, how many years have you been with the Sheriff's Office now?
I actually ran in 2012 and took office on January 1 of 2013.
And are you still enjoying it? Still?
I am. I probably have a lot more gray hair than I had back then when I did it, but I still feel like we're making a difference. I feel like the sheriff's office is running very smoothly right now, and that's what all due to my staff. It's like right now, out of all the years, we've had a lot of great people work at the sheriff's office, and obviously a lot of them are missed. But it seems like we're able to bring on new people that fulfill those roles and are just doing a fabulous job.
Absolutely. And I can vouch, he and I both had more gray hair than 2012 when we. So, what are some of the biggest challenges you guys are having these days as far as criminal activity or I know you guys also do the civil side of things, like serving papers and court documents and so forth. What's really been keeping you guys busiest?
I think obviously the drug side of things. If I had to summarize drugs, which goes right into the substance abuse and then the mental health. I mean, we are constantly still dealing with drug addictions and people that are addicted, and then when people are addicted to the drugs, then they end up stealing, they end up doing the things they shouldn't do because of that, and then also the mental health side of it. It's for years I've been a big, I guess, supporter in regards to redoing our mental health system in the state of Iowa. I've spent a lot of time at the Capitol on really trying to get legislation to get people the help they need in a timely manner. I mean, it doesn't do much good when somebody's suicidal to say, hey, well, we'll try to work you into an appointment 3 weeks, 4 weeks from now. We need to get people to the right place at the right time to give them the help, and then the follow through with that. They can't just show up somewhere. The emergency rooms, the nurses and the doctors do a fabulous job, but they're also dealing with the car accidents. Yeah. They're dealing with, the heart attacks. They're dealing with that side of it, and so it's very hard for them to do it. And a lot of times, it's the answer is, well, if somebody's in a crisis of mental health or substance abuse, take them to jail or take them to the ER. And we can do better in the state of Iowa. I truly believe that. And the drug side of things, obviously, Sergeant Van Wyk is a supervisor for Mine East. We belong to the Mine Central Task Force. And he's doing a fabulous job with all the members that he has and the officers and deputies that are under his command. But it's constant. I mean, Jared and I are talking daily on different cases and the amount that's coming across from the border. I mean, and the opiates that are coming from China. So.
And of course, you and I have talked, going back to mental health, you and I have talked ad nauseum about, trying to fix the mental health situation for many years now. Are you seeing any kind of improvement?
Well, I thought about 3 to 4 years ago, we actually passed unanimous bipartisan legislation to create access centers, and I thought that was a great step in the right direction, in which it was, and it's getting better, but it's still the sense of urgency isn't what I would like to see it be. I mean, it's still a lot of the facilities. I mean, we can't have brand new mental health facilities that say that person's too mentally ill for us to deal with. That just doesn't work. I mean, in today's society, because then you clog up the court systems, you clog up the jail, you clog up the ERs, and that money and that focus needs to come to that front end. I mean, where it's the boots on the ground people at 2:00 in the morning when a deputy's dealing with somebody in a crisis. Right. We need help right then, and the answer can't be take them to jail or the local ER. So we are making progress. Things are better, but it's still not at the point where we need it.
And do you think a lot of the problems with placing mental health patients these days goes back to the closing of the institutions, or were institutions bad, or what do you think would be it?
No, I think there are people that, you don't want to institutionalize people, but there are people that need those resources, that have to have that. And we kind of went to the extreme where granted, maybe there were some people that were in institutions that shouldn't be, but there were people that were. We kind of went to the extreme where it's like, well, nobody needs to be in an institution, or nobody needs that long-term care, and they do.
Yeah.
And what we see is people end up getting sent out of state, or it costs more, I mean, to deal with those individuals, or they end up in jail, or they end up in prison. I mean, and we need facilities that are capable of taking care of people on a long-term basis. I mean, and so to answer your question, yeah, I do believe there has to be facilities that are capable of that long-term care.
Yeah. And of course, you know, substance abuse can sometimes lead to mental illness and vice versa. Do you see a big intersection of both of them?
Oh, most definitely. I mean, even in our jail here, if we could get people off their addiction, or if we could get them stabilized with their mental health issues, I mean, I would have less people in jail. We across the state of Iowa would have less people in jail. So there's a big correlation and connection between the two.
And you know, you mentioned it briefly earlier about the drugs coming across the border and substances coming from China. Of course, you know, they could be coming from China across the border with as porous as it is. We hear a lot about fentanyl. Have you run into that here?
Most definitely. Actually, it's ironic that you just said that. We all of my deputies now carry. This is actually a brand new that just came out from the Health and Human Services side of it, but naloxone. I mean, or Narcan is what a lot of people call it. All of my deputies carry Narcan, and it's obviously to help the public on overdoses, but it's also to help the deputies. A lot of people, it's like, some people, I shouldn't say a lot, but some people feel like, well, you're supporting the addictive behavior, or you're supporting things by giving them a resource that's there. Well, a life's a life, and it's valuable.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the other side of that too is it's like anymore with the fentanyl side of it, and us touching it, or deputies touching it, or the controlled substance side of it, even though we glove up, there's still a chance that, I mean, the smallest little amount can cause death. And so if there's things that my staff can carry that either save the lives of citizens, or save other deputies or other police officers or other just individuals, I mean, that happen to come in contact with it, we're going to do that. So, and we do see a lot more now, the fentanyl, it's become even more dangerous. I mean, we see overdoses, and when I took over as sheriff, I mean, we very seldom heard anything about heroin. I mean, it used to be kind of the prescription drugs and that side of it, but you never really got to the heroin side. And now throughout, I mean, the years, 11 years now, I guess it would be, there is heroin. There are these opiates. There is the fentanyl. And it's sad. I mean, that addictive nature of it is something that's going to be hard for us to beat.
Yeah, that kind of touches on what I wanted to go into next. I know when you started, methamphetamine was still, you know, are we still seeing methamphetamine, or is it kind of given away to
not near as much as what we did back in the day. Back in the day, the labs, we were constantly dealing with the people stealing anhydrous, stealing the pseudoephedrine. I mean, all the precursors and everything. And actually, the Iowa legislature really cracked down on it. And for the manufacture of methamphetamine, they really increased the penalties and the severity of time that somebody's going to do. Unfortunately, now, I mean, the benefit, we don't see as many labs, but unfortunately, we still have just as much meth coming across the borders or different things, and people realize it's cheaper to buy meth from Mexico than it is the penalties to try to make their own. So we don't have the labs like we used to, but methamphetamine is still coming across the border in alarming rates. I mean, when you have shipments and, I mean, pounds and pounds of meth coming into the state of Iowa, we have to do something. I mean, and that's where the Drug Task Force does a fabulous job on it, but there's only so many of those guys also.
Yeah, and of course, there's just a big area that the mine area covers.
Right.
But, you know, step aside from drugs, the people coming across the border. Have we run into many illegal
Not
immigrants here?
not a lot in Marion County here. It's something that obviously we do have people coming in and out, whether it be documented or undocumented. But we haven't had the large, huge influx, or we haven't seen at the sheriff's office or the PDs of what some of the other areas have seen. Now, granted, in the state of Iowa, are there people coming? Yes, but here in Marion County, it hasn't had a huge negative impact on law enforcement along those lines.
It's good to know it hasn't been a big impact here.
Right.
It's just how would you handle that? Like if somebody from Texas brought a busload of 100 people that might not speak English, might not have marketable skills, what would your role be in taking care of those people?
Well, at some point, I think we would be making a lot of phone calls to the federal government.
Yeah.
I mean, because the federal government, has created the issues or the problems, so they need to come up with the solutions that go along with it. And obviously, we're going to do whatever we can. To keep the citizens of Marion County safe. But still be humane in our handling of individuals that are there. But there has to be accountability also.
Yeah.
If people come across that it's illegal or breaking laws, then there needs to be consequences for that. Yeah. And so my first phone call would be to the feds on saying, hey, you caused this problem, now you need to help fix it.
Yeah. And, a problem it's not a problem, but I know something that your office is handling right now. You guys handle dispatch for all services on this side of the river, excluding, Pella, ambulance, fire, and police. How many agencies is that, and how busy have you guys been?
Oh, it's busy. Everything, when you bring in all the small towns and the volunteer fire departments, and actually we took over the policing in Melcher, Dallas. They used to have a police department and stuff, but they decided to come with us with the sheriff's office, and it's definitely busy. That decision obviously was a good financial decision for the city of Melcher, Dallas. It brought more work onto us, and obviously there's a contract with it, but it now allows us to be in the city a lot more, patrol a lot more along those lines of it or whatever. So that's been a good thing. But our dispatch center, the dispatchers are here. Michelle, who's our communications director, they do a fabulous job.
Sure do.
I say it all the time. I say, I hope people think I'm a great sheriff, but I probably would not be a great dispatcher. There's certain, I have my strengths and I recognize those, but I also have my weaknesses. And one of those weaknesses, whether it be typing, talking on the phone multiple times, talking on the radio, that multitasking side of it that dispatchers do, it amazes me at times. I'm sitting there trying to, I feel I'm good at what I do, but I go up there and I'm lost in the aspect of when somebody has a phone in their ear, when they're typing in the computer, when they're talking into the radio side of it. So they're very busy, but they do a fabulous job at it, and I'm lucky to have who I have.
Yeah, it definitely takes a special kind of person to do that dispatch job. I've written about that quite a bit.
Sure.
But as far as the sheriff's office here, is there anything more going on that you want to share, or anything else new that folks should know about what your office does for them every day?
Well, I think obviously we spoke about it, and I can't give enough kudos to my staff. We just talked about dispatch, but the jail. People don't realize the dedication and hard work of the jailers. It's when people come to jail, obviously a lot of times it's the worst day of their life.
Yeah.
And they're not in a good mood, or if they're under the influence of substances such as alcohol or drugs, or they're dealing with mental health issues, my staff does a fabulous job. For them to balance, dealing with individuals and holding them accountable, like we talked about, but still with compassion. It's like they can take control of situations, and they need to back in the jail at times, but they also are very compassionate and want to try to find the root of the problem. It's not just you come in or whatever and, hey, don't care anymore about you. It's like, how can we keep you from coming back?
Yeah.
What resources are there? Lieutenant Kaius, the jail administrator, and all of the jailers, they really focus on doing that. And that's kind of the dispatch and the jail side of it. Civil, obviously, you mentioned that earlier. They do a fabulous job. The number of paperwork that comes through in regards to all of the court paperwork. Obviously, the civil aspect. When we talked about mental health, the civil papers and committals are up along those lines. And my three staff, Jen, Jenny, and Chad up front, do a fabulous job. And then, obviously, one of the things we haven't talked a lot about is the road deputies. I mean, that's we actually were the first in the state to have a dedicated mental health deputy that's paid out of the mental health regions and stuff. So we are the first sheriff's offices to have that. Our mental health deputy, Janae, is actually, she's on maternity leave. So congratulations. The young one aspect, but that side of it was very good for us to kind of have somebody that can deal with those things like we spoke about earlier. And then the road side of it, we've really focused, I don't know if you've noticed it or not, but the state, even on Highway 5, there's a new speed corridor that goes from Knoxville down to the Monroe County line on Highway 5. Well, from 2016 to 2019, they did a study or whatever, and there was a lot of instances along that road. A lot of those we can't prevent. Obviously, it's a very hilly, windy road along those lines. So when you get into the winter months, the county guys, state guys are going to they do a great job, but they're even going to focus a little bit more, on the salt and sand along those lines. But also one of the things they noticed was speed. I mean, especially in that southern part of the county and stuff. So we're going to have increased enforcement down there along Highway 5 for the speed side from November. Just start here in November, and we'll go through next October or whatever. So people all around, I mean, watch your speed on different areas, but especially through that corridor, because there's going to be increased enforcement side of it. And we've seen that. Our Facebook post, Deputy Boone has done a fabulous job, on kind of keeping the public up to speed on what's going on, and he's made numerous posts on different things where we have a lot of people over 100 miles an hour traveling at high speeds. It used to be about the only time we'd get that in the past is chases or different things, and now it's people just traveling or being late for a curfew or doing different things. It's like, so it seems like speed in general, you used to have people, they're going to do 3 or 4 miles an hour over the speed limit, and that was kind of that threshold. Now people are thinking 10, 15, 20 over that speed limit is acceptable, and it can't be. I mean, it's one thing to be a few miles an hour over, but when you start getting to that 15, 20 miles an hour over the speed limit, it's very dangerous. And I don't think people realize that. You add a phone into your hand along with it, and it's just a recipe for disaster. So the road guys have done a fabulous job on that. We talked a little bit about, driving under the influence, the use of drugs or whatever, since that's up or whatever, then also those OWIs, they do a great job with that. And it's just one of the things I'm probably most proud of out of all my employees is they handle I have the utmost confidence in no matter what situation. I mean, it can be the worst of the worst situation that happens in Marion County. They know how to deal with it. But they're also compassionate, they're caring, they're friendly. The number of times I get or compliments from somebody that's, oh, hey, please give so-and-so a thanks for me. The way they helped me change a tire. They helped me, my family was involved in an accident, and they went above and beyond. And I get to steer the ship or whatever, but it's all those people that work here at the office that make the ship run. And I'm blessed. Things are going great, and I really appreciate everything that they do. And we might not say that. I try to, recognize that here in the office, but I don't think the general public, sees it as much as they should. So shows like this, I think it kind of it gives an emphasis on what people do on a daily basis, and I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, we're all thankful. It goes back to, public service.
Yes.
It's all about serving. They're making taxpayer money, but
yes,
they're here to keep us all safe and do what they can to help.
Yeah, and they have to do it. In my opinion, I don't want them to be that person that you can't walk up to at Casey's and doesn't talk to you or whatever. I want friendly, outgoing people. But I also want somebody at 3 o'clock in the morning when something bad's happening that they can take control of the situation and keep us all safe.
Right.
And we have a great balance of that right now, and I'm very thankful for that.
Indeed, we are all thankful. Well, thanks again, Jason. If you don't have anything more you'd like to share.
No, thanks for coming, and yeah, we probably need to do this a little bit more often. It's been a while since I saw you, or what, and but yeah, you're always welcome here, and same thing too for the viewing public. If they have questions or concerns, I obviously have an open door policy or whatever, but I also call me. I try my best to anybody that calls and has a specific question for me or whatever, I try to get back to them and answer those questions. I work for the just over 33,000 people in Marion County or what, but I'm everyone's sheriff, and I want to hear about if there's any issues or concerns so we can address that. And I'm also don't hesitate on those good things.
Right.
I mean, to call, and I mean, when I can pass on that to a deputy, a dispatcher, a jailer, somebody up in the civil office. We didn't even talk about the reserves and what a fabulous job they do also.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
But thanks for having us.
Yeah. Well, thanks again, Jason. Thank you all for joining us.
Thanks.